Chris Scalzo here with
Matt Howell. And this week on The First Run, we go out and check out the... Do we want to call it a reimagining of the infamous faux documentary from the 70s, Faces of Death, where we move to the social media age and feel, get a glimpse into the horrible, horrible lives of content moderators and, all the terrible stuff that's said on the internet. And when we talk about it, I'm going to do some complaining because I didn't plan very well and it really caused a problem for me. So I'm going to complain to Chris, even though it's my own fault.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah. Do we have any physical media this week, Chris?
We certainly do.
Okay.
We certainly do.
All right. Are we going to have that going forward? Should I plan for that in my intros?
I think so.
Okay.
I think we can say it's officially back.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And it's a big week this week too, so there's lots to inform you about. But don't worry, we'll blow through it, Matt. I won't keep you up too late.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Chris. You know what? You're a gentleman and a scholar. With that, let's hear a little bit of Faces of Death 2026.
Here at Kino Moderation, we protect people. The young, the innocent. When you come across content that violates policy, flag it and move on. You may be tempted to look into it outside of work, but don't even think about it if you can help it.
Now it is time to witness the many faces of death.
What's up?
I've been seeing these videos, all based off this old horror movie called Faces of Death. Do you think this could be real executions?
Leave it up. Support the trend. That is the first rule of content creation. Give the people what they want.
That's right, Matt. One of the things I think about every now and then when I'm scrolling through Insta and whatever, I can't imagine having my life be focused on being like an Instagram person, having to create content, right? Staging all that stuff all the time. And I couldn't begin to think to do it. And I don't know if it's because I've been dealing with my own for the past year or two, even with this show, my own sense of, what was I talked about through the week? When you have a false opinion about yourself, what am I thinking? Why is the imposter syndrome? Imposter syndrome. So, but I can't imagine having to build your life around that stuff and bringing your family in.
Mm-hmm.
Can imagine if Mrs. First Run was a content maker or something. I couldn't live my life like that. I couldn't do it. I don't understand how people are able to do it.
I mean, I guess partly because you've grown up with it and it's kind of normalized and that's the new celebrity, right? Is that kind of thing. But I did read, there is maybe some hope on the horizon, like Gen Z starting to push back on some of this stuff and they're starting to withdraw on some of it and things around like AI and other technological wonders that they're not all about. So I don't know, maybe there's hope for the future.
I am excited about how they seem to be really anti-AI, so that I'm very excited about that.
Yeah.
Faces of Death, Matt.
What's it about?
Oh, I have to tell you what it's about.
Yeah.
All right, that's my job this week.
Mm-hmm.
Great, aren't you lucky? So Barbie Ferreira plays Margot Romero. Barbie, I should say, you may know from Euphoria, a show I have never watched because I think the creator of that show, Sam Levinson, is just a slimy POS kind of guy who exploits women's bodies, thinking he's being risque and cutting edge stuff, and really he's just doing the same thing that thousands of people have done throughout time prior to him. Guy's a hack, and I can't stand him. Anyway, Barbie stars in Faces of Death as Margot Romero. She works as a content moderator for this company called Kino. They're kind of like a TikTok kind of social media thing, right? And she goes through and she has to review and say, check off, yes, I can post that, or that needs to be reviewed, or that needs to be taken down. She comes across a video that looks like it is potentially somebody actually getting murdered. And she grabs her supervisor, says, it's probably fake. Go ahead. You know what? Like you heard in that clip there, that's what the people want. Go ahead and approve it. But she becomes obsessed with it. She can't stop thinking about it, and she has to find out, is this real or not? And when she does, she unfortunately gets in the crosshairs of our killer, because this stuff is actually all happening. And now he looks at this as an opportunity to really go viral, because he is actually recreating the fake portrayed murders in the original Faces of Death faux documentary, I guess we would call it, from the late 70s. And hijinks ensue.
Hijinks indeed. They are hijinks. Now, Chris, let me ask you, did you ever see the original Faces of Death?
No, I heard stories about it, but ever since, even when I was a little kid, I don't have an appetite for real death.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole thing back then, it was the first viral thing, really. The whole thing back then was that it was, well, what was it? Was it real?
Yeah.
Is some of it fake? Is some of it real? And all the stuff are reenactments of murders. But there are real slaughters of animals.
Mm-hmm.
It's like same thing, like I won't watch Cannibal Holocaust. Well, I did eventually see it. I think we did it for the band
Yeah, I think
marathon,
we did. Yeah,
right?
we did, yeah.
But you're able to watch, there's a release that you're able to watch it without the murder of the turtle, right? You can watch it without the animal harm, basically. But I didn't know as a kid if it was real or not. And it was hard to get your hands on a copy of the VHS back then anyway. So, but I never had any appetite to watch it.
Right.
And then as I've gotten older, because of the animal slaughter, I have not and I will not watch it. If Vinegar Syndrome, who's releasing this in 4K soon, released like a Cannibal Holocaust version of it where all the animal stuff is excised, then yeah, I'd watch it because it's fake. So that's fine. Though I think maybe there's like an assassination that might be real. That's like news footage or something like that, but it's not as graphic or I'm not sure. Have you seen it?
So yeah, so my roommate in the early 2000s, so I was obviously a young adult. He became kind of obsessed with getting these banned, if you will, videos, right? So, he got Cannibal Holocaust, Cannibal Ferox, and he got a copy of this, right? So we watched it. I remember next to nothing about it. All I do remember is saying that all this stuff is obviously fake. Like, I couldn't believe that even people thought that this was real. Okay. Maybe, I can't recall if maybe some of the animal stuff was real, but again, it's so hazy. I guess I've had 10 too many whiskeys between me and then, but I can't really remember what it's about. But I do remember it seemed very cheesy to me when I watched it.
Interesting. And of course, so what time frame is this? Give me, is this mid-90s?
This would have been the early 2000s. So like 2000, 2001.
Early aughts.
Yeah.
All right. See, my experience, lack of experience with it, but knowledge of it.
Yeah.
Was like late 80s.
Now, yeah, I knew about it back then. I remember I had a teacher who told us, oh, there's this thing out there that you wouldn't believe it if you saw it kind of thing. And, it was like this mythical thing, when we were in 6th grade or whatever.
Fair enough. Yeah. All right. So there you go, folks. Matt has seen it. I have not. The original. But it's notorious. It's one of those things. It's like, I don't know if it's not as ubiquitous as like as a Dark Side of the Moon is, right? Where everybody basically experiences it in some way or another, if you don't want to. But the existence of it is something that I guess if you grew up in the 80s and 90s, it's in your brain.
Sure.
You know of it.
Right.
So I wonder about that. Like kids today, do they know, independent of this? I wonder if this was like a thought in their heads, if they had any experience or any. Like, did your daughter know about it? Or she's still too young for that.
I don't know, but I think that's a good segue into what I think the most interesting thing about this film is, like, what's available out on the internet for relatively easy searching. Like, if you were so inclined to go look for it, is so beyond the pale that the idea of Faces of Death is almost quaint, right? Like, it doesn't, I've never seen any of this stuff because I'm with Chris. I don't want to see, like, I have no interest in seeing gore or, people, suffering or any of that stuff. But I've heard about, these like cartel videos where they're just doing god awful things to these people, and it's all there and people watch it, right? So this idea of, that content is out there, and like this idea of this things that like Chris and I, this mythical thing of called Faces of Death, which is this VHS, which turns out to be mostly fake, where, if you're so inclined, you can go watch a cartel skin someone's face off if you really want to watch that. And that's a real thing, right? So I think it's an interesting question that is like, this stuff is all out there now, and like, are we what is it doing to us that it's so available for if you just want to go look at it?
So that is, I think, one of the themes that the director here, Daniel Goldhaber, and Issa Masay. Now, I want to state too, there's an interesting thing about so these projects. They've done a few films together now, and they are considered a collaboration. They're a team, right?
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I guess the way the directorial rules with the Academy and everything is they can't be co-directors or something like that. I'm not quite sure exactly that, but they've put out a couple films. One of them actually, Cam, which is pretty good. How to Blow Up a Pipeline from 2022, which is an incendiary film. If you haven't seen it, I think it's absolutely fantastic and one of the best films of that year. And now they're back here with Faces of Death. And I think, Matt, that's one of the things that they're trying to say, right, is what's happening to our society, that there are people that are into this kind of stuff and they get transfixed and obsessed with it. And I don't know how successful they are at that message here. And in fact, I don't know how successful this film is at all. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting question, and I think they have a kernel of some good ideas in here, right? But the issue is it becomes kind of a standard slasher film, right? And it becomes kind of pretty rote. I mean, it kind of becomes by the numbers. It's the type of film that isn't kind of as nasty as, like, let's say, the extreme French New Wave or whatever they called it, right? It's just kind of, it's got this cool premise, and I think they kind of just touch on it just enough to intrigue you, but then everything else in the presentation is just kind of more of the same, and it really collapses under its premise, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think I'm inclined to agree with you. And another thing too that bothers me is, unfortunately, I think it's rock dumb at times. It's competent, but it's unremarkable. And I don't know if that's because the original film is such a legendary kind of thing in the cultural Ethereum or whatever. I mean, it's haunted the dreams of people who haven't even seen it for like 40 years. And I wonder if maybe that's part of the challenge. It's just too high a hill to climb. I'm not sure. But let's kind of just get out of the shadow of the original for a minute and just talk about this film on its own. My first issue is the villain. He's very bland. And I don't think he really brings anything to this role. Respectfully, so Dockery Montgomery plays Arthur. He's our killer here, our slasher, and it's just, there's something just flat about him and about this entire film, right? It really feels, it's too flat. It's got that Netflix feel to it for me, where everything it's just very standard, very paint by numbers. It doesn't feel scary really at all. There are some like shock moments in here, but unfortunately, I think it's one of the biggest surprises for me is that not only is it not that scary, it's not that unsettling. Right. It's not that disturbing at all. And it's just because I don't know if it's just the construction of it. I'm not sure. Also, or is it the aesthetic? As I said, it looks very modern and very flat. There's the lighting I don't care for. It's very one-dimensional in its presentation. And I don't know if I want like a filter that gives it a 1970s TCM kind of vibe, or maybe some different lighting, make it a little darker at times. I don't know, but it's oddly just flat and inert at times when it's trying to be this kind of shocking thing. And as I said, since I haven't seen the original, I can't say it's because of that. I don't think. Say it's just like, scary slasher film 2026. I would have the same response to this. Right. I don't know, how did you feel about it?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's absolutely right. I mean, it's not. It just quickly becomes your standard slasher fare that's not particularly well done, right? I mean, and it's got mean, kind of nasty moments, but it's all just not enough, right? So, I mean, the whole conceit of this thing is this idea of, would something like Faces of Death, what would that be like, or what would that do to people when you're easily And for people like of our generation where it was hard to find, it was this legendary thing. What does that do to somebody when you can see things that are like 1,000 times worse all the time, right? Whenever you want. And what does that do to somebody, right? And how does that change you? And what is that doing to us?
And we barely touched that though, right? There's a scene with Charlie XCX that she's watching the videos with a couple of people, they're all their coworkers. But the whole thing is just, we never really get into any of the impact, I think, of any of that. The psychological impact of having all this information ready available to us at any moment. It's more just it's a wrapping for the film than it is the intense depths of it.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
I agree with you. I think I hope somebody picks up that idea and does something a lot more. Does a lot more of a deep examination on it. Like, what was that one that we watched about the video nasties? The one that was British, she was like it was kind of similar to this, where she was like she would watch the video nasties.
Oh, Censor.
Yeah, Censor. Not an excellent movie, but I think it touches on that same subject matter a lot better. And I think that's worth mining, but this one's just not it. If you're just into slasher films and that's okay with you, then maybe you'll like this, but not enough.
Yeah, there's another too. You made me just think of that when you talked about Brit. I think it's British. There was one, oh, what's it called? Is it a British one? But it's not British. Regardless, I can't remember now. It's going to kick. Maybe I'll find out and put it in the notes of the show. But it's basically about a guy who breaks into a house and then slowly tortures and kills everybody inside it.
Amazing.
And it is really unsettling and disturbing. And this ain't it. You know, and then back to Dockery Montgomery too. Like we talked about this the other week with Elijah Wood and Maniac. Again, if you haven't seen that, I would recommend you watch that instead of this. And another thing too is I think the score here, they try and pull a little bit from the 80s, or at least maybe even Rob's score from Maniac. I felt kind of tones from that in here too. So if you want to see a remake / reboot done right, I'd say, watch Maniac instead. And also too, Matt, I talk a minute here about the ridiculous decisions made by some of these characters. Like logic is just out the window, right? It's a lot of there's a couple of those, hey, let's hide behind all these chainsaws moments, right? From that, the commercial. Mm-hmm. Like when they escape, but she has to find proof. No, you don't, girl. You need to get out of that goddamn house. And it's, I don't know. It's frustrating because I appreciate the concept, and using the original and remaking them for real is an interesting idea, and then commenting on the power of social media, the attention economy, the loss of our common humanity. You get a few pops in me, Matt. I think you and I could talk about that stuff for hours. Mm-hmm. But the problem is there is no grand metaphor here, I think. At least it's not successful, right? It's more of I think, was it Brian Tallarico from Roger Ebert said, it's more a sign on the side of the road. I'm sorry, he reviewed it and actually found all that in here. And for me, it's a sign on the side of the road, like a look and point, oh, hey, check that out. And then we just kind of move on. So, yeah, I don't know. I just, maybe if it was a little more grindhouse feel to it, a little dirtier, a little nastier. Even though like the stalking scenes are kind of rudimentary and not scary either. It's just, I don't know.
Well, not even necessarily does it need to be dirtier. I mean, that is one approach, but this could have been, I think it would have been well served if it was maybe a little more introspective, maybe a little more artsy. I think maybe a little more surreal. I think that could have worked very well too. Are you talking about the house?
No, this is an old film from like the 70s. Okay. It's a foreign film. It was on Criterion. That's where I saw it. It was on the Criterion channel for a little while. But it's like a 70s movie. I'll have to see if I can remember it. I have not seen The House of Jack Butler. I have not seen Ventur's film. I hear that's very odd and unsettling.
It's a rough set. Yeah.
So, yeah, good times. Matt, I still don't know what to give this thing. I'm like at a C- right now. Mm-hmm. I think that's where I'm going to be.
Yeah, I was kind of vacillating on a C, but I think a C- is right. Oh, and my complaints, right? So, Chris, I didn't bother to see if this was playing anywhere near me until like it was way too late to text you and say, oh, by the way, the only place this is playing is in freaking Danbury. So a nice 80 mile round trip to go to Danbury to go watch this fucking thing. So my procrastination to not even look to see if it was playing anywhere before it was way too late is what got us to see this film.
I was surprised by that. I thought this would have had a little wider release than that there in Connecticut.
Nope. It was either the only places Well, the only places it wasn't playing anywhere near me, but then once I figured that out, I said, okay, what I stuck to AMC's, and it was either Danbury or Lisbon, which is up in the quiet corner.
Wow.
For some reason, that was it. Like,
that's got to be rough to have to drive that far for something you do not enjoy.
Well, I do it for you, and I do it for the audience. So you're welcome, folks.
I appreciate your commitment. That is very nice. If you had a chance to see Faces of Death, it might be playing around you, might not be. I'm sure it'll hit the digital stores relatively soon. Choose an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. Maybe we're just not cool anymore, Matt. I don't know what it is. So spend a few minutes, tell you what's coming up on physical media this upcoming Tuesday. That's April 21st. Matt, there's a lot of cool stuff coming out.
Fingers. You understand, this is a fight to the death. No quarter. Are you watching, Father? Master. Dark Lord. Are you ready to see if the boy has what it takes to be a finger? Good. Okay. Fight.
One of the best films so far of 2026, Nia DaCosta's The Bone Temple, part of the 28 Later series, Matt, is being released on Blu-ray and 4K. And in fact, it is there can be only one. It is the big release for me, I think, this week. I'm going to start at 1, I guess. But here's a weird thing about it, which I am very disappointed in. You can only get the 4K if you buy the Steelbook. There is no standalone 4K version of it. You have to get the Steel, which of course is like $10 more expensive, and includes a Dolby Atmos audio track, no Dolby Vision, but it does have audio commentary by DaCosta, a deleted scene, and then a behind-the-scenes making of featurette. Number 5, Matt, let's go ahead and do a double feature. It's going to be Christy. This is a Sydney Sweeney helm movie. It's only going to be available on Blu-ray. It's the story of Christy Martin, the most successful female boxer from the 90s. And then also to Primate. This is the monkey attacks goes wild because of rabies film. I have weird issues with animals that I don't like them getting hurt. I'm assuming the monkey gets killed at the end of this film, so I did not go see it. But if you want to, you can check it out. It includes audio commentary. And again, only a Dolby Atmos audio track. So, 4. 4! Movie is putting out Die My Love, the latest film by Lynn Ramsey, a film that I just did not really connect with. Didn't really work for me at all. But Jennifer Lawrence is fantastic in it. It just is very unrelenting, but also just at some point you're like, okay. I don't know, just not as successful, unfortunately, for me.
Get 3 coffins ready.
Criterion Premiere is putting out Resurrection by Bygone. In a society where people stop dreaming to extend their lifespan, some dangerous individuals still dream, warping the fabric of time. We experience 5 dreams for each of the senses, each chronologically representing a period of cinema. Includes a Meet the Filmmakers featurette. This film is actually streaming right now on the Criterion channel, and I have not yet had a chance to watch it, but it is in my queue. But you can pick it up from them. It's going to be a Blu-ray release so far only, and again, it's a Criterion premiere, so I do not believe it has a spine number, and it's only going to be in Blu-ray, as I said. So, Matt, this one's for you, buddy.
Well, you 2 lovebirds take it easy, okay?
Good luck, have fun, don't die is being released on Blu-ray and 4K. Again, no Dolby Vision, just Dolby Atmos audio track, and there's a making of featurette on that. Also, too, Send Help, Sam Raimi's latest film, Matt, is being released on Blu-ray and 4K. Again, we do have Dolby Vision on that one, sorry. And then Atmos audio track, audio commentary by Sam Raimi as well as the producer, 5 featurettes, bloopers, and 22 deleted and extended scenes. We both enjoyed Send Help, but
yeah,
I don't think I'll be buying it. I don't know, it's not one of those things where I think I need to watch it again. But of course, I'm aging. I'm actually now thinking in those terms, like, well, am I ever actually going to watch this again for real, instead of just kind of playing the game in my head? Now I'm actually looking at the calendar. Am I really going to watch this again?
You're looking at your vast collection and like figuring out to the second how many more movies you can fit into there.
And what if I get diagnosed with dementia? Then what happens? One thing, it's good because I get to watch stuff all over again for the first time. But then I'll never. I don't know. It's tough. It's a big concern I have. 4K releases. Arrow is putting out the Pang Brothers' excellent The Eye. Brand new 4K restoration of that. Dolby Vision included. And then a bunch of brand new interviews on that. I remember seeing The Eye when it came out, I think on DVD or something originally. Very good, very scary stuff if you haven't seen it. The House of Seven Corpses is being released by Kino Cult. Kino's also putting out the Brian Bosworth, air quotes, classic Stone Cold. The drama Sleepers is being released on 4K, includes a steelbook version. There's also a pair of Jean Roland films, Grapes of Death and The Living Dead Girl, being released, I believe, by Indicator. Some other steelbooks, Matt, Sky Captain, The World of Tomorrow in 4K. And that's it. Actually, Stone Cold was the other. But the other big release for me this week, in fact, I was able to already get it from my buddy Shelby over at Viper Video Tampa here in Tampa. John Borman's Point Blank. Why is it Lee Marvin film, right? It's basically, if you saw Payback, the Mel Gibson movie, Payback was a remake of this movie, Point Blank, which I think is a superior film. It's a brand new 4K restoration on that, approved by Borman. Includes Dolby Vision, audio commentary featuring Borman and Steven Soderbergh, some other new interviews, and a short documentary on The Rock as well, on Alcatraz and more. So if you haven't seen Point Blank, folks, it's one of the better kind of crime thrillers from the 70s. It's fantastic. So you should definitely search it out. And I guess I'll leave, Matt. I'll close it out with this. Did you hear what Soderbergh basically is kind of all in on AI?
That doesn't surprise me, but it's extremely disappointing.
He's working on this new project where he's trying to visualize like surreal dreams and stuff like that. And you just can't do that. No, ass. Maybe you can't do that, but there are certainly artists out there who can.
Sure.
Why does everybody suck? Matt, what's coming up next week on The Big Show?
Lee Cronin's The Mummy, which, by the way, Chris, especially since when I go to the theater, I show up 25 minutes late, so I miss all the previews. I have not seen a single trailer for this film, so I have no idea what the hell it's about.
Teaser was creepy as heck. And it's supposed to be very unsettling and violent and gory. I won't say any more, but I'm hearing very good things about Lee Cronin's The Mummy. I think about 3 months ago, I'd said too that they changed the name of it because they're coming back and making a new Mummy film with what's her name and what's her name and what's his name? The mummies from the early aughts with Brendan Fraser, Rachel Weisz. So, but that was entirely BS. That was not true. So at least that they are making those movies, but they didn't pull all the Mummy stuff out of this. So Lee Cronin's The Mummy will be next week. I'm very excited about that. In the meantime, you can check us out at thefirstrun.com. There's archives of all the old shows. The report card is there and more. Also head on over to feedback. Oh boy. Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, YouTube. Do a search for The First Run. Scroll. Eventually you'll find us. We're on Letterboxd too. Matt, what's your Letterboxd? I always want to mention that. I can't remember. I always forget to mention that we are on Letterboxd. So it occurs to me, I have not updated mine since the end of March.
God, what is my Letterboxd? When I'm looking at it right now, it says my actual name, but I don't know if I have like a username. I think it's my username is Thurston. I was a very early adopter, so I was able to get that in there without any numbers or anything else or qualifiers.
Yeah, mine I think is Chris Scalzo, but there's also just do a search for The First Run. That's there. I did see Cold Storage. Did you see Cold Storage yet? Oh, it's okay. It's okay. That's the last film I logged on here. So that's that. And then what else? Apple Podcasts. Gonna jump over there, give us a review. It'll help other people find the show. I think that's it. Is that it? That sounds like it's it.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, and I lied. Now, yes, I have seen Cold Storage, which should tell you what I think about it, by the fact that I couldn't remember I saw it.
And that will be the big show for this week. Thank you, as always, everybody, for listening. We do love you very much. Please take care of yourselves. And we will see you all soon. Love you. Bye-bye.
Answer me a question. How come your old lady's been eyeing my tail all night?